being healthy is the ultimate life hack. Health is literal wealth. You get way more energy, you get way more focus, you just get way more out of life. Like you get to wake up clear-headed, ready to go. You're not tired throughout the day, and it teaches you how to be comfortable while being uncomfortable.
To kick us off the season, I have Joe Rotondo, the CEO and co-founder of Smearcase. But I'm super excited because I'm hoping by the time this airs, I will have actually been able to try the product because I've been trying to, and it sounds great. It sounds amazing.
A few moments later.
There may be moments in work where you get stressed, your heart rate elevates, your body tenses up and it goes into fight or flight. Working out and exercising allows you to be comfortable in that feeling, and it allows you to push forward instead of run away in fear. Me training for my very first marathon, I wanted ice cream, but wanted some sort of nutritional value. Couldn't find it, was eating a lot of cottage cheese at the time and started making it myself. Saw opportunity in the high protein space that has sort of taken off, which I'm excited to dive into.
Hey everyone, I'm Michael Marr, the host of The Longer Game, a podcast that talks all about the future of retail. Brick and mortar, direct-to-consumer, Amazon. If it's driving retail forward, we talk about it here on the show. Make sure to subscribe to catch every episode on LinkedIn, YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. And stick around to the very end because I have a really exciting giveaway to help kick off season 4. And before we dive in, I just want to say thank you. Every listen, every share, all of those conversations, they mean a lot to us and they help us get our message heard. Retail is evolving very quickly. You've been along for the ride, and I appreciate you for being here. All right, let's get into it. Welcome everybody to season 4 of The Longer Game. We are now officially starting a new season, and this is the podcast where we talk all about retail. That's e-commerce, that's in-store, that's Amazon, it's anywhere you can sell your products. That is what we consider to be retail here. And to kick us off the season, I have Joe Rotondo, the CEO and co-founder of Smearcase. They do FroCo, and I'm going to let him tell you more about just exactly what FroCo is, but I'm super excited because I'm hoping by the time that airs, I will have actually been able to try the product because I've been trying to, and it sounds great. It sounds amazing. I love cottage cheese. Tell us more about you, Joe, and what you do.
Yeah, Michael, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here. Smearcase is the first and only FroCo. FroCo stands for frozen cottage cheese. It's high protein, low fat cottage cheese ice cream. It's so low fat we can't even call it ice cream, but it's just an easy way to describe it. But yeah, we call it FroCo. It's half the fat, half the calories, half the sugar, all natural ingredients, over 40 grams of protein in 1 pint. It's boosted with collagen. It is a nutritionally value-packed pint of frozen dessert. You get your protein, you get all natural ingredients. It's derived from me training for my very first marathon. I wanted ice cream, but wanted some sort of nutritional value. Couldn't find it, was eating a lot of cottage cheese at the time and started making it myself. Saw opportunity in the high protein space. And that has sort of taken off, which I'm excited to dive into. But what I'm excited about is the subcategory that we're creating, and that is frozen cottage cheese as a category. You have ice cream, you have frozen yogurt, you have plant-based alternatives, and now you finally have frozen cottage cheese.
Okay, there's a lot of things that we could talk about, but I think the first thing I want to talk about is doing a marathon. And that's what you said, right? You were training for your first marathon.
I ran New York last year. I was training for Running Man by Jesse Itzler in July of 2023. And yeah, training for a marathon is, I tell people now I'm sort of retired from running. It's just a drain on the body. It's an absolute dedication. It takes up your time and energy. But you're not only training the body, you're training the mind. You're becoming a tougher person. You battle adversity. You learn how to be resilient. I think anybody can run a marathon, to tell you the truth. Anybody can do it. It's just a matter of, will you do it? And do you want to do it? But I encourage everybody to, maybe it's not a marathon, but doing some sort of fitness, not even competition, just like some sort of fitness challenge really teaches you a lot about yourself.
I have consistently, like, fitness has been a part of my life for the past probably, I don't know, 15, 17 years. And it's gone in different iterations. Like, I've just kind of done, show up to the gym and do curls and bench press. And then I've gone in and done CrossFit and then really got more into strength and conditioning. And then I did Olympic weightlifting only. And then I was never in the Olympics, just to be clear. But then I really just kind of moved into more of like a functional fitness space. And I can for sure say that being physically active and pushing myself, like I have a coach that he runs, shout out to Craig, in Bluffton, South Carolina. He owned the first CrossFit gym there in Hilton Head area, and he had become very good friends. And he does on my program. He just pushes the side of it out, and I don't tell him like, oh, I don't like this thing, don't program it for anymore, because I want to push myself. And there's some things that I don't like front squat very much. I don't know why. Back squats, totally cool. But front, I'm like, oh, this kind of sucks, but I still want to push myself. And it has absolutely made me mentally more sound and tough, because I know, and I'm not like in my head saying I can make it through this, tough meeting because I've worked out, but I just know that I can, and it's been a huge, I would say, confidence builder too, as you feel better and you start to look better, because really the feeling comes way before you look. And let's be honest, you want to get cut and you want to get trim. It comes down to nutrition. Like, you could work out all you want, you're not going to lose a bunch of weight. Like, it really comes down to like what you put in your body. So that is just, but the physical aspect of that, there's so much more to it than that. It's certainly mental, emotional, all that stuff.
Yeah, it's the ultimate life hack. Being healthy is the ultimate life hack. Health is literal wealth. You get way more energy, you get way more focus, you just get way more out of life. Like, you get to wake up clear-headed, ready to go. You're not tired throughout the day. Like, yeah, and it teaches you how to be comfortable while being uncomfortable. Like you said, there may be moments in work where you get stressed, your heart rate elevates, your body tenses up, and it goes into fight or flight. Working out and exercising allows you to be comfortable in that feeling, and it allows you to push forward instead of run away in fear. And that, like, that's just science.
There are a lot of workouts that I know. Like, I remember back in CrossFit days, there were all those like girl workouts, like Grace and Fran and all that stuff. And Fran was 21:15:9 of a thruster and a pull up. And thrusters are basically like the worst kind of front squats ever, because you have to rack the bar on the front and then squat, but then push all the way up. And 95 pounds may not seem like a lot, but you're doing 21:15:9. I just know going into that, it's going to be painful. And so I brace myself and I'm like, all right, I can do this. It's going to be fine for like 3-4 minutes. It's going to suck really badly, but I'm going to embrace that suck. That's a great military, term. People talking about embracing the suck. My church is taking it on, where they like in back walls say like embrace the suck. Like, there's just going to be hard stuff in life that you have to go through, but like embracing the suck, I think, makes it better, because now you're not wincing. Like you said, you're like, all right, I know this is going to suck. I'm ready going in, but I'm going to see how well I can do. And oftentimes you find improvement through that.
Yeah. It's choosing your hard. Literally. Would you rather, it's choosing your hard. Would you rather go through a tough workout, or would you just rather go through a tough life?
I'm going to pick tough life. I'm just kidding. But the thing is, though, I think you should expect things to be challenging. Like, consider it not strange to go through the fiery trial that you go through. That's what Peter talks about in the Bible. Like, you should expect life to be hard. If you think life is going to be easy, honestly, I feel bad for you, because one, you're not going to be prepared for it. But even if your life is easy or easier, and you never challenge yourself, like, you're never going to reach full capacity, full capability. And I have a group of guys that I meet with once a month. The group's called Banded. It's a faith-based entrepreneur group, and we meet and talk about spiritual life. We talk about our business life and relational life. And yeah, it's so cool. Luke Dooley and Ben Hardman, a friend of mine, they created this Banded group. I got to go out to Montana at the end of 2025 and fish and shoot guns and just, hang and kind of be off the grid. It was so fun.
Incredible.
But but at one of these meetings, I was talking about how, it's been a challenging business year. And leading up to that, we all met up early to do a bike race or just ride a couple miles on the trail. And one of my buddies, part of the reason I talked about you running is because I have a buddy who does ultra marathons. He ran a 55-mile race several weeks ago.
Wow.
If you're listening to this now, it was months ago now. But I mean, he's a badass. And he started, I think, with like a 33 and went to a 55. And it's just a totally different beast. And I've always said jokingly, but kind of seriously, that running's for the birds. But I have a neighbor up the street, just because I'm like, see people running. But like my neighbor up the street said, if you don't like running, then you just haven't done it enough. Like someone said that. And I was like, okay, my coach has been programming running for me this whole summer. And I'm at a point now where I ran for like just an easy 22 minutes this morning. And I was like, oh, okay. Like it's not bad. I don't hate it. Now I'm not committing to marathon or ultra, but I don't hate it anymore. And my buddy was like, hey, I can put a run group together because we didn't have enough bikes going to this banding meeting. And I was like, man, I don't want to run. That sucks. You know what? I'm going to do it because I do hard things. And so everybody else biked and he and I ran. We did 5 miles. That's probably the most I've ever run ever. And I went on his shakeout run with him before his ultra recently, and that was 4 miles. Shakeout was 4 miles. And
Yeah.
but I'm like feeling better as I do it. But I went and did that.
Yep.
And I said I do hard things. So I was just talking about it being challenging business here. And this one guy was like, yeah, but I'm recalling what you said earlier today. You said I do hard things. So I think that you know that you like want to do hard things and that you can do hard things. And would I want it to be easy? And I think the honest answer for entrepreneurs like us is if it were easy, one, everyone would be doing it. But two, would it really be as fun? Like, I don't know. Like, you break that down for me from your perspective because I've shared mine.
Yeah. The path is narrow. The path is narrow, right? Very few will choose it. And entrepreneurship, there is an incredible barrier to entry. And entrepreneurship, I've learned, isn't really about what you're building externally. It's about what you're building internally. Who are you becoming in that process? And these past 2 years during this journey, I've learned more than I have in my past 30 years of life. And I've become a better person for it. It's been incredibly challenging. It's been the hardest of times. It's been the greatest of times. But in that, I've learned so much about myself. I've learned so much about life. I've learned so much about business. And that is why you do it. It's because it is challenging. It's because it is stimulating. And yes, it's taxing and it takes a lot of your time, but there's great freedom in it. There's great freedom in pursuing an idea that you have and bringing it to reality, bringing a sketch on a piece or, bringing a thought in your head to a sketch on a piece of paper to a physical thing is the most gratifying thing. And at the end of the day, being able to add value to this world and being able to extract value from this life is just really special. I get chills thinking about it, like what do you want out of this life and what can you give to it? And in that giving and receiving is just this beautiful balance and this beautiful 4D fast-paced live action chess match. And the more you do it, just like running, the more you do it, that first mile that you run ever is going to be incredibly difficult. But once you get your reps in and once you compound that, a mile is a warm up and you don't really get going until mile 8. You're feeling good at mile 15 and then you're fighting demons at mile 18 through the rest of the marathon. But it just like running, just like anything else, it becomes very meditative. When you stick with something and you really get comfortable and you really get your reps in, the hard gets a little bit easier, just like resistance training, like For me to bench press 135 was incredibly difficult. It took me so long to get there. Now I'm warming up with
Yeah.
that weight. You know what I mean? But
Yep.
it took me years, right? It took me years to get to that. So yeah, the path is narrow. Not everybody's going to choose it. It's incredibly sacrificial, right? But in those sacrifices, in those constraints, comes great freedom, and that's just a lifelong journey. You know, it's not going to end.
Man, if we ended this podcast right now, I think we would have more than enough content. We're not going to, because I think there's a lot more. But dude, that really speaks to me. I've been an entrepreneur the past 15 years, and the
Wow.
path really is narrow. But I think about, and so I think that's super wise. And I think about, I think a lot of times people get off the path. Like they might start on it, but they get off because their expectations are off. They were expecting it to be, man, I work for myself. Now all the money comes to me. It's like, yeah, and all the bills, and all the people problems, and all the things that come with owning and running a company. And so it's so much easier to say, grass is greener on the other side. But to your point, there's an immense amount of freedom in the constraints that you have. Like we all have constraints in our lives, in our businesses. We can even self-impose constraints. So you think about what you intake in your body. I'm gonna put constraints on my body. I'm not gonna take in, let's say, I eat super cleanly, but 10% of the time, I have a piece of cake. I love cake, So I'm gonna do it. But most of the time, I'm not gonna do that. And that's actually going to be beneficial for me. And that does give me freedom. I have more freedom in clothes that I choose, in how I move around, what I can do. So we think about constraints incorrectly. Constraints are actually a beautiful thing. And they allow us to also, I think outside the box. Like, how can I do this thing with less? And then when you do get more, if you're a good steward of that less stuff, I think you become a better steward of good stuff. Everyone knows money or more stuff. Everyone knows money it amplifies where you're at. It's a tool. So like money in and of itself is not bad. And people often say, the love of money. Sorry, money's the root of all evil, which is actually incorrect. It's not the right quote. It's the love of money is the root of all evil. It's a tool. You can use it poorly. You can use it well, but it amplifies where you're at in constraints. And if you get more, you can't manage money well with $10. You're not going to manage $100,000 well. It's just
Totally. Yeah.
It's not gonna be the case. So you're spot on with the path is narrow, but it's super rewarding, and there's a ton of freedom. Like I'd rather work twice as hard doing something that I truly feel called to do, something that God's placed in my heart, versus maybe making more and working a little bit less for someone else for what they want to see happen.
Yeah. Wow. There's so much in there, Michael. It comes down to who you worship. So many people worship the dollar. They get into entrepreneurship for the dollar, and that's fine, but it's not sustainable. You know, you and I are both very faith driven. Like if you put God at the top, everything else is a little bit easier. And I think it's going back to choose your heart. When I left corporate, it was more difficult for me to go back and get another 9 to 5 than enter the game of entrepreneurship. And I made that in my heart painful. I associated pain with going to work for somebody else, and I associated pleasure with working for myself. Both incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
Both risky. Gone are the days of like true job security.
100%.
I made this month is I don't know how to say this, but I've been at Smearcase, the startup that I've created, longer than I was at my most previous startup that I worked for somebody else. And that company, unfortunately, no longer exists. So there's great risk involved in both, but it's really choosing your heart, which path you want to go down, and then going into entrepreneurship for the right reasons. And those reasons should be surrounded by your values, What do you value? Money shouldn't be, money
Yeah.
is an ends. It's not a means. And if my values are health, faith, family, leadership, and creativity, I wanted to do something that checked all those boxes, and I'm doing that. And now that I have that deep alignment, I get to wake up on the bad days and get after it, because deep down, I'm fighting for something that I truly, intrinsically, emotionally believe in.
Yeah. You're united with your purpose. And
Yes,
so
united with your purpose.
it's
Yeah, and
it's
it's who you
easier
worship.
to fight for those things. Yeah. You thought we were going to talk about protein, but we're talking about life right now.
And I mean, it's way more fun. It's way more fun because it like, and going back to the path is narrow. Like we all stray. You know
Oh,
what I
for
mean?
sure. Like if you're expecting to walk a straight path like that again, like there's going to be so many obstacles and roots that you have to walk under
Yeah,
and animals that come out there trying to attack you. Like that's why I said like you should expect that life is going to be hard, and that sets you
totally.
up to be prepared for that.
Yes, absolutely. And of course, like just like you go through funks, you go through peaks, you go through valleys, and as long as you have that strong North Star, you can get through anything. But understand that the good times are going to end, the bad times are going to end, and they're going to come back. You know, like something I made this realization recently, which is crazy. It's like I think everybody in life right now is going through something incredibly painful. Tim Ferriss said, assume someone is fighting an internal battle, and that just allows you to have empathy and show kindness to everybody. And we're all going to have a battle at all times. But I think we think like once I overcome this, life will be perfect and I'll never experience this again. You know, we have that like weird, I know I experience it, like once I overcome this, like I'll be good, the coast is clear, but something always comes up. And that's not to say like something bad is always going to happen, but in our
Yeah, because
lives
that's the
there's
flip side is like, oh, if something's going well, something bad's always going to
right.
happen. But
That's
we
a
easily
trap.
twist that.
Yes, it's a
Yeah.
trap. But during your life, there's always going to be good things happening. There's always going to be bad things happening at the same time, you know? And it's just a matter of like, how can you swim through that and be graceful through it and just handle it, knowing that you'll overcome, you'll grow, you'll become wiser. And I think the ultimate test is when you approach that situation again in a month from now, years from now, you'll know how to approach it the next time. Because if you approach it the same way, that's the definition of crazy, right? You approach the same problem with the same approach, you're gonna run into it time and time again. But it's like, how will you grow through it? What can you learn from it? And every opportunity is an opportunity to get a rep in, and there's always a lesson to be had.
Like I like the getting the reps in because that's true. Like, and the more reps you get in anything, the better you're gonna get. I'm super curious about what you're snacking on too. You mind
Yeah, I got a
sharing
grape
what?
here. I typically never eat on camera, but
I love it. I thought it was a chocolate covered like almond or something.
no,
That's that's what I thought it was.
it's just a
Yep.
huge red grape.
I love it. I, I yes, you are absolutely right. We as humans have the tendency to think, all right, I just need I'm gonna get through this problem. I'm gonna be fine. I just need this money. I'm gonna be fine. And if you can be content, it doesn't mean that you don't strive for more, but if you can be content where you're at and know that you're there for a purpose, that you've been called for such a time as this, then you can be so much more impactful instead of waiting for the next moment or reliving the past. And there's a super wise guy named Oswald Chambers. He wrote a devotional I use every single day called My Utmost for His Highest. And he has something that, regardless of what you believe, I think is super applicable. And this is what he says. People often want to be somewhere and say, I can't do this thing because I don't have this money or I don't have this power or I don't have this, I'm not here. And he said, you certainly can be of no use where you are not. If you're not in that place, you can't be useful there. If you're not him or her for that organization. You can't be useful there, but you know where you can be useful? Exactly where you are. And so being content, being okay with that, but also knowing that there's still work to be done, striving for more, wanting to grow, wanting to be impactful, then that's what is the end here? Like, if we talk about like arriving is death.
Yeah.
So if it really is about the journey, like you got to be content with where you're at. And man, that's a struggle for so many people, especially people that are ambition driven, like you and myself, where we have a goal, we want to set it, and we want to go after it. You're always thinking forward about that goal, but how can I be content in this moment? And that's so much more challenging.
Yeah. There's so many sayings that I remind myself. You've been training your entire life for this very moment, and then this moment, right? It's a culmination. You have everything you need right now. You are fully prepared. I forget the last one, it'll come to me, but it's as humans, we're always going to want more. Nothing is the end all be all. We're constantly curious. We just have this freaking need to know everything, right? So it's a powerful reminder. And you can blossom anywhere. You plant a seed and you water it, it will come up. But it's yeah, I love that saying. I'm gonna check that book out because I love that stuff.
He's a super wise dude. He was like alive as like a World War I chaplain, and he's alive early 20th century. And his wife posted everything like posthumously. So
Yeah,
he
oh,
didn't
that's
even like
cool.
put that stuff down. But yeah, I love that. Like you can really only be useful where you are. So do that. Try another way of saying it is like instead of thinking about where you are not, try being useful where you are and see what happens.
Yes,
That's
yes.
gonna go in my book.
I
Hopefully
love.
that
I
my
can't wait
wife
to read
doesn't
it.
just post posthumously.
I
And
hope
I'd be
you got
okay with
time.
that too. I got
You got
time. Yeah. I I'll make a hard right here and
time.
say that I looked at a recent post of yours on LinkedIn that talked about branding, about the intentionality of branding. And I think it was great because I frequent the ice cream aisle often. I don't necessarily buy all the time, but even the like better for you ice creams. And you did make an intentional choice to have a carton that's black and to stand out in that sense a little bit more, not be so bright, not be so airy, but you still have fun with like what you do. Like you're my next protein dealer. That's amazing. I love that. Uh, so talk about that a choice, and was it at a certain point? How did you arrive at that? Like, did you go into a store and evaluate? Because a lot of times people will design in a vacuum. They won't look at like where they're going to sit on the shelf, and then they look like everything else. So how did you get to that place where we got to do something different?
Yeah, listen, we live in a crowded world. There's a lot of noise. I equate the time that we're living now is like a New Jersey diner menu. You can
Okay.
order,
It's like
you can,
200 different things.
yeah, you can order anything at any time of the day. We are engulfed with information, and I think nowadays, like you gotta really zig while everyone zags in this noisy world. Like, what can you do to stand out as a brand when attention is actually the real currency? The two most valuable resources in the world is time and money. Time being way more valuable than money. So that attention is such a valuable asset, right? So we thought about it like, what can we do to stand out on shelf? We going into it, cottage cheese is incredibly polarizing as a food. You either love
I've
it or you
hated it and loved it in my
yeah.
lifetime.
Right, right. So people are grossed out about it. Like that's why I wanted to make this ice cream, because there was a moment in time where I was eating cottage cheese every night for over a month, and I just got the ick, and I just like I can't do this anymore. And during the branding process, I was just trying to really lean into like wow, this is actually freaking crazy. Cottage cheese ice cream, that's disgusting, or that's crazy, or that's so
That's how
different,
you
right?
know you're onto something, though, Joe.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. It was just like,
this seems wild. Let's
yeah.
do it.
Yeah. Right. Like you need to have a certain amount of delusion. So just like leaning into that. And, when it comes to the conscious design choices we made, I think taste takes you a long way in life. I think if you have good taste, if you have a good eye, and I really trust my intuition and my gut. So I really sort of almost put myself in a bubble, uh, and try not to listen to the outside. Of course, I'm going to consume that information and dissect it and analyze it. But creating something that's non-comparative in a way, um, and I pull influences from other areas. So like, yeah, when looking at the ice cream set, it's a lot of names, a lot of first names, and it's a lot of whimsical, colorful, indulgent, uh, dessert, gluttonous sort of designs, where we wanted to say this is, yeah, it's ice cream. Right, but we don't want to be an ice cream. We don't want to be a dessert. We are a functional product that is bold, that is different, that adds actual nutritional value. Um, and yeah, the ice cream set is loaded with sugar, fat, calories, and crazy questionable ingredients. We didn't want any of that. And I think like through and through, from the product to the brand, we wanted to zig while everyone zagged. We wanted to be different. We wanted it to say protein and function, versus indulgent and useless calories.
Yeah, I love that, and especially if you're unique as a brand, what you are selling, like you want to, I think, stand up to that being different
Yeah,
is
and
where.
listen, people hate the name Smearcase. People love the name Smearcase. It's polarizing, but that's what a great brand does. Polarization is fun. It drives conversation. It drives curiosity. It's attention grabbing in a busy set in a competitive space. It's like Smearcase. What the heck is that? It's like, well, you're like, it's memorable, but we call the product FroCo, and Smearcase literally means cottage cheese. So we've heard it all. We've heard like, you'll never be successful with a name like that. I'm not investing in a company with a name like that. And people have told us to change it. We've explored it. We've explored it.
Yeah,
And there's days where I'm
which is
like,
good.
what?
It's good to be open just to think
Yeah,
about, like, hey, could we be off here?
right. But at the end of the day, we're sticking to our guns, and not out of stubbornness, but out of like the feedback that we've gotten and the success that we've seen. Like, yeah, it's working, and we feel like it's going to be a household name.
I love that. I think a name, like, what's a name? I'm not
Yeah.
a big Beatles fan at all, but their name sucks. But they were super popular and impacted a ton of people. But their name is the Beatles. Like, it's a bug. It's not a great
Yeah.
name. But what they had, people wanted, doesn't matter. I mean, I think unless you're calling yourself like Poop Chart, which maybe you have a great product. I have such a seventh grade mind. But it goes well with my seventh grade daughter. She thinks it's
Yeah.
funny. I think my
It's
wife
not that
does too. But
serious. Like, people need to chill out, man. We're having fun.
yeah,
Yeah.
but like the name, unless you're going to something like that and you're trying to have it be a food aisle, okay, well that's going to be a little bit different. But like, is the name is not. It can help, but like that's not necessarily what will sell it. It's the product and who you are as a brand and that identity, which will make that name the thing. Like Apple. Apple's not a great name, I don't think. It's just a fruit.
Yeah.
Like no one would say, "Hey, Joe, go start a tech company called Grape."
Yeah.
But
Right.
it doesn't matter because people love the product. They love what the brand was about. So yeah, I think good for you guys for sticking your guns and not caving to the almighty dollar, because that could change your passion for wanting to even be a part of the brand, or just pursue what you're wanting to pursue.
Totally. And it comes down to, yes, you want to design for the customer, but I think you also want to design for yourself. Like there's so many musicians who've said like the best songs were the ones that I made for me, and people just so happen to like them. And I think the best founders solve their own problems and make it for themselves, which in our case, that's where I was at. I wanted to solve a problem that I had. And I think those are the best companies because the founder is intrinsically tied to the problem, knows it intimately, and designs something that they want to consume. Um, yeah, but I think at the end of the day, good taste takes you a long way. I think if I were to go back, just to really stir the pot, I'd probably name the brand 6-7 and put
Oh
67
gosh, yeah.
and put 67 grams
67
of
grams
protein.
of protein.
Yeah,
Yes, that
it
would
would
be
be
so
electric.
baller.
Yeah, and
I would
what?
be a
Maybe
micro. I'm not an accredited investor, but I would micro invest in that for sure.
yeah, right. So I mean, so whatever.
That's so good. Now it's like where adults are saying it to kids, and the kids are like kind of cringing, and
Yeah,
we're like, we're taking this over now.
yeah. It's
You don't get this anymore. This is ours.
it's all good fun.
Yeah. I love the macros though on the product, and as someone who tracks everything that he eats, unless I'm on certain vacations, not all. Um, um, some vacations I'll track. There are like times when all right, I'm good. Like I know what I've eaten leading up to this point, and I still am like watching, what I'm doing. I'm just not tracking it as religiously, but I want to make sure every single meal I get some kind of protein. And that could be for a couple of reasons. One is I just have a goal that I want to hit. I want to build muscle. I want to, be at the body fat that I'm at right now. But also, I know it's going to help me feel more full. It's going to help anything else that I have that's carbohydrate based. It's going to help reduce the impact of my blood sugar.
Yep.
So, or the need for insulin, it will slow that down. So, I love dessert. I told you I will still eat cake. This is my favorite chocolate cake of all time is in the restaurant, which is called, it's at the Contemporary in Disney World, and it's called Steakhouse 71 because it was founded in 1971. And they have this chocolate cake that's like layer upon layer upon layer. I mean, it's amazing. It's like I can really only have it once a year. I don't even know how many calories it is. I don't want to know, but it's so good. But I can't do that all the time. But I want protein in a meal. So if I can have something that feels a little bit indulgent, that's why the whole protein like boom that's happening right now, I'm like trying to find the downside of this, even if the label is not clean, which clean can mean a lot of different things. And it also depends upon, what maybe ingredients you don't want to, what ingredients are bad or good for you. There's some that like you discover, like I love ice cream, but like I've even done like oat milk ice cream and it had carrageenan and guar gum and all this stuff that upset my stomach. And my wife was, yeah, it was probably that. So now I like stay away from that, even though it might be better from an ingredient standpoint. But also like one of the best things that we'll do is like, you just look at like Haagen-Dazs. Yes, there's sugar and there's fat in it, but there's like 5 ingredients. Like that's kind of hard
Yeah.
for, if you're going to go for ice cream, go for something like that. But anyway, there's, I'm trying to find a downside of this because people are getting more protein and people are not, people are getting a lot of fat and carbs, and fat is not bad in and of itself, but you pair that with a high carbohydrate diet, you're now going to store a ton of body fat, and there's just a ton of complications from that. So I love the macros on that. And again, even if label's not clean, but you're getting more protein, like, I don't know, like someone want to tell me where the downside that is for the consumer?
Yeah, I've got a lot of thoughts on here, a lot to unpack. The protein is the most important macro, in my opinion. For the reasons you stated, it makes you feel full. It gives you just vitality, energy. I just feel like you feel better with a high protein diet. And that was the goal from the onset for Smearcase was to have the cleanest ingredient list, really have whole foods in there, nothing questionable. And as a result, the macros just deliver. There's 450 calories in a pint, over 40 grams of protein, super low fat. We use all natural sugar, but not as much as the other ice creams out there. I think the thing about the protein movement is quality of protein matters. There's a lot of brands out there that are hopping on this bandwagon, and they're just putting protein powder into their foods. And I think that's where we need to draw the line. I saw mashed potatoes, and the second ingredient is whey protein, and you could have a protein shake as a supplement for that. So I think quality of protein does matter. I think there's a time and place for whey protein powder, and I think that's in a protein shake post workout. I don't think we need to be pumping our foods with it. I think the best source of protein will always be the single ingredient foods, your steak, your chicken, your milk, yogurt, cottage cheese. So quality of protein matters. Now I think it is a
By the
good
way,
thing.
if you had to pick a meat, if you had to pick one meat for the rest of your life,
I'll give me steak all day.
well, okay, I say steak normally, but chicken is so versatile, and my wife makes really great chicken. I think
All
I
right.
might pick chicken.
Touche.
The protein per calories, but if I'm honest, like probably like a fillet or a
Yeah.
a bone-on fillet or a bone-in ribeye.
Yeah, give me a New York strip steak. I've like perfected. I get Butcher
Okay.
Box, and my favorite is New York
Oh,
strip.
okay.
I just have perfected in my cast iron exactly how I
Mm.
like it, and it just hits every time. Um,
Anyway, I cut you off, but I was just curious
no,
what you
yeah,
would
the
pick.
quality of protein matters. We want a nutrient dense product, right? I think there's a lot of protein powder ice creams right now, and then there's us being the cottage cheese ice cream. Um, and again, like there's I think the plant-based movement was an incredible marketing initiative that really greenwashed a lot of people. It's not surprising to hear that oat milk ice cream mess you up. I had oat milk for about a couple years ago, and it messed up my stomach, and I had no idea why. But yeah, at the end of
It
the
just
day,
always has a lot of sugar in it too, and
yeah,
I'm not a
it
fan.
spikes your blood sugar levels. Like you can eat our FroCo, and you have the stabilization of the protein. You don't get a sugar rush. There's no heavy cream, so it's not upsetting your stomach. Um, yeah. So in this whole protein movement, you need to prioritize the quality of your protein, and in that, like what type of steak or what type of chicken also matters. It's going a layer deeper of prioritizing grass fed or organic chicken. Like all of that matters because you go a layer deeper. It doesn't just become about the protein, it becomes about the nutrient density as well, those vitamins, the minerals. Cottage cheese has probiotic properties. So it's yeah, like at the end of the day, I'm so glad that health is mainstream. Like we had to politicize health in order for it to be a topic of discussion, which is insane. But you know what? I'm glad because at the end of the day, like my job isn't selling ice cream. My job is helping people live happier, healthier lives, and my medium just so happens to be Froco, right? So I think this now that health is a topic of discussion, I'm excited for the protein movement to bring awareness to it. But what I'm really excited for is for people to go a layer deeper and to start developing a more holistic approach around their health. That is not just about one macro ingredient. It's not just about exercise, but it's about spirituality. It's about mental health. It's about choosing the right supplements, getting back to like I'm going on a tangent here, but I think the health movement has become either science based, where like how can we hack the system in a science lab, or more holistic based, and it's like how can we get back to our roots and the soil and the earth. And I think both camps are fantastic. I think there's a camp in the middle, which I feel like maybe I sit at. where I'm taking from both sides, and I'm listening, right? But I'm also doing my own research, and I'm also like testing on myself to see what is the best diet for me. What is the best supplement for me? And just being really intuitive in like how you react and what your energy levels are. And I think through like, again, New Jersey diner menu, but what do you actually want to pick and choose and eat? And is that right for you? Uh, so you can't listen to an influencer and just do what they do because they're telling you to do it. You need to be able to critically think and dissect that information, and again, use that and sharpen that for what works for you.
I'm so aligned with you on the marketing initiative behind plant based, and there's certain elements of that that can be good. I think we could probably have a whole podcast, multiple podcasts, and people do to talk about nutrition and all that kind of stuff. But almost demonizes meat in a way that it really should not. It's what we were most intended to eat when you just look at our digestive tracts. But yeah, there's this big marketing initiative for that. And that took a lot of protein out. People are now adding it in. If I'm honest, someone's like, man, I've got this protein bar. Don't come at me unless you minimally got like 15 grams of protein. Like,
Yeah.
if you're saying 8 grams of protein and it's a protein bar, it's not a protein bar. So I'm aligned with that. And also, yeah, if you certain things may bother you more than other people, so like figure out what that looks like. But people now having protein, I agree, like quality protein matters, but now people get that at least a little bit better. That starts to be like, okay, well, how can I do maybe more of that? And
Yeah.
then how can I improve my spiritual life? How can I improve my mental capacity, my mental health? So one thing can start to spark all these other things, and I think that is the net positive. Certainly, I'm gonna go for steak or chicken, or man, I'm allergic to salmon. I wish I could eat salmon, as I have before. But like and fish, whatever. Like I'll take any kind of like good quality eggs, any good kind of good quality meat between that and a protein powder. But a protein powder is great to like supplement. Again,
Yes.
it's supplement. That's the in the name. It should just be what you do all the time, and you're gonna miss out on some of the ingredients. Plus, just like chewing food is like helps you to feel more full. Like I should be
Totally.
chewing food. I should not just be drinking it down. So there's a lot of like good stuff in there. I think there's a net positive for people when we start talking more about protein.
Yeah, absolutely. Gee, I could talk about this all day. You're not missing much on the salmon thing. I was on a big salmon kick. I, uh, yeah,
I love
I
that.
think, I think, geez, sometimes I wear my tinfoil hat. I'm not gonna lie, and there's rabbit holes I've been down. I think salmon is another greenwashed source of protein. To be honest with you, I think a lot
Mm,
of it is pumped with artificial colors.
yeah.
Salmon has a ton of parasites as well. So I think seafood. I don't eat seafood anymore, to tell you the truth.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, because of those reasons. Like shrimp, for instance, is a bottom dweller. It's incredibly high in cholesterol. When my fiance and I first started dating, she was pretty much pescatarian, so therefore I was. So we yeah, no milk, no meat. But then we educated ourselves and realized that like we were greenwashed or meat washed or whatever you want to call it. And by doing your own research, I think you really cut through the noise and get back to the basics. And again, like, don't listen to me. Seriously, do your own
Go do your
research.
own research.
Do your own
Yeah.
research,
And
and
honestly,
you,
there's so much out there already.
yeah, and
Not
and
even
and
just new research, past 200 years. We've got so much
yes,
nutritional research information that's available. It's like they go, if you want to challenge, I think people go read Good Calories, Bad Calories by Dear Hobbs. Probably one of the best books I've ever read. And he doesn't tell you what to do. He literally just lays out all the facts and all the information.
yeah, yeah, and I encourage you, use yourself as a science experiment. We can't test on humans anymore, but you can, like Brian.
You can test it on yourself. That's
Yeah, you can
totally
definitely know, like, look at
reasonable.
Brian Johnson. I think what Brian Johnson is doing is incredible. Like he's dedicating his life to science for our greater good. And yeah, he does incredibly controversial things. I don't really listen to him a whole lot, but I learn a ton,
Sure. I was gonna
and
say there's like some like tracking and stuff that they're doing that's like
yeah,
out there, but I get why they're like doing it. I just couldn't imagine being the person that's like tracking his nocturnal missions. That would not be a
yeah.
fun job
Somebody's got
to
to
do,
do it.
but somebody's got to do it if
Yeah,
they're gonna figure it out.
yeah. And like also like going back to faith, I've really deepened my faith these past 2 years. I grew up Catholic, was just didn't really get it, did not resonate. It was a chore. Um, I would often go to church in my baseball uniform or football uniform and just be there, go through the motions. But I think during this entrepreneurship journey, I've really deepened my faith and gotten back to the Bible. And like at the end of the day, remove religion from the book. It is the biggest source of truth of what this human experience is. Like it's an incredible guide. Humans have been going through the same problems forever. And if you root yourself in that truth, then it's an incredible map and compass for everything you will encounter. Right. So yeah, it's full circle, man. It's full circle. You can't, I think in order to really be our best self, it requires a holistic approach. It requires us to remove ourselves from parts of culture and society and really think about ourselves as like humans, spiritual beings. And I think life becomes a little bit more clear and peaceful when you take that like truly holistic approach. And like, listen, I'm not perfect at all. I'm still learning. I have so much work to do. Um, but I've seen the impact on my own life, and I know you have too, Michael. And I think, once you really do your own research and go down these narrow paths, life gets a little bit more special and a little bit more magical. And at the end of the day, I just would love for everyone to experience that.
I'm so on board with that, and I could not agree more that it is the most central source of truth. It has sparked the most positive things in our societies, like schools, like hospitals. And so I think sometimes people have a preconceived notion because of humans who are flawed, who have ruined it in some cases for some people. But if you really read and get to the root of the Bible, there is, and as you honestly, I read other people who know and understand it and give me the context of that situation and of the words that were used. Like as you go deeper, you realize there's so much more continuity. And yes, it is an instruction book for life, and there are constraints, like you said, and like we talked about before. But in those constraints, I can now walk through a difficult business challenge and say, you know what, Jesus said not to worry, and I'm not being crazy and just doing whatever, but like he said not to worry, like worrying when I at a moment to my life. So you know what? I'm gonna let not my heart be troubled, and I'm gonna walk through this thing. I'm gonna trust that he hasn't. And guess what? I'm still here. And even if I wasn't, I still trust that the outcome would be positive, would
Yes.
be great. So like 100%.
Yeah.
If people
Beautiful.
want to know more about you and what you're doing, this is going to be a great show opener. I just got to say, this is going to be an incredible first show of the season. If people want to know more about you, Joe, where can they find you? Like just on street dealing protein? How do they
in my
how do they
trench
find you?
in my trench coat.
Oh man, that would be so good. Trench coat
Yeah,
ice cream, trench coat FroCo.
trench coat FroCo. I'm gonna have to make a trench coat with a freezer or dry ice
Do you need a
built
spoon? Oh, I have one right here. Here you
in.
go.
Yeah, we'll have to get you our signature shovel spoon. But yeah, if people want to learn more, I'm on LinkedIn. It's my favorite social media. I post a lot about the highs and lows and just whatever it comes to mind. So yeah, Joseph Rotondo on LinkedIn. You can follow us at Eat Smearcase on Instagram. Um, and yeah, feel like I would love to hear from you. Like, feel free to reach out. on LinkedIn or DM us on Instagram. I would love to connect with you all, and be on the lookout for FroCo, hopefully hitting a store near you very, very soon.
Love it. You heard it here first, people. FroCo's on the rise. Choose your hard. Remember, the path is narrow. We're out. Before you go, quick heads up. To kick off season 4 and celebrate another amazing season, I'm giving away 3 private 30-minute Amazon strategy calls exclusively to you, listeners of the Longer Game. Look in the show notes below for giveaway details and mechanics. We're going to pick 3 listeners, and we'll reach out to you to book those calls directly. Thanks again for being part of this. I'm super glad that you're here, and I do not take you spending your time with us lightly. I'm Michael Marr, and we'll see you on the next episode of The Longer Game.